KTN News. Get the whole story.
Good morning. I hope your morning is coming on well on this great day. And I hope that as you go about your activities, everything else is coming together okay. It's 8:07 a.m. Thank you for joining us here on Morning Prime. For the next 1 hour, we canvass issues around women in leadership. A lot of efforts currently going into ensuring more women present themselves to the ballot as aspirants in various or candidates in various seats from presidential to the MCA levels. And the FIDA Kenya has had an academy that brought together over 350 women aspirants from different political parties from across the country in an academy. And we're going to talk about that a bit. And of course, the space of women in the upcoming general elections. Is this the election that will see more women come into present themselves or vie for various seats across the country? Is this likely to give room to a parliament that will be observant of the 2/3 gender principle? Joining me for this particular conversation, I'll be speaking to Sophie Kaibiria, who's a senior program officer at FIDA Kenya. She's joining us virtually. Sophie, a very good morning to you and good to see you. And here in studio, I have Cecilia Nahungu-Mbati, who is one of those from the academy and an aspirant at the Westlands constituency. Cecilia, thank you very much for joining us here this morning. I hope you're having a good morning. And before that, let's just take a look at what happened yesterday. The Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, in Kenya, is in partnership with Womankind Worldwide, have concluded a 3-day training program for women eyeing various political seats in next year's general polls. The program, which was attended by over 350 aspirants, was meant to prepare them to hit the ground in their political quest. Dubbed the Women Leadership Academy, it seeks to increase public discourse on the role of women and persons differently able in political leadership of the country pre and post 2022. Now, this training also looked at different aspects such as experience sharing.
Is gearing towards the 2022 general elections. This engagement, therefore, is a timely initiative that significantly contributes to ongoing campaigns that seek to bring women together to support each other up the political leadership ladder, regardless of our party affiliations. In my position as a senior woman politician in Kenya, I am committed to using any available opportunity to encourage and mentor aspiring women leaders with the hope that this time around we attain an enviable number of representations in various positions.
All right, that is Ann Waiguru, Governor Kirinyaga County, one of the women pioneer governors in the previous election, gracing that function at FIDA yesterday, where 350 women were involved in that particular program. Let's now bring in Sophie Kaibiria, the senior program officer, FIDA Kenya, to just perhaps understand this program. Ann Waiguru, the governor, there saying that perhaps we are likely to see an upsurge in the number of women who will be vying for various political positions. Is that what we anticipate to see in the 2022 polls or next year?
Thank you, Akisa. I can answer that in affirmative, that we expect greater numbers of women going for elective positions and actually getting it. Now, this program on the women leadership on Monday is hoped to do that. The program basically is about getting the elective leadership positions for women. We know historically that this has been a continuous process that was culminated in the Constitution in 2010. However, that has been a slow progression in terms of getting numbers in the elective positions. Now, the Women Leadership Academy comes in as a capacity building academy that is also fashioned in the form of advocacy through the Voter Data campaign that FIDA is running. Now, in this academy, we are we were looking at how we can fashion women into elective positions by ensuring that they have those 5 critical measures that include the access in terms of knowing how to get through political parties, going to political parties and ensuring that they have a voice and visibility in there. Now, secondly, we are looking into accountability through the electoral management systems. This includes the institutions that are aligned to electoral management and the mechanisms that ensure that all people, women and men, especially women, have an opportunity to be part of the elections. Thirdly, we have the agenda setting. We are looking at how women can set the agenda as they go into politics. What kind of agenda are they setting? It has to be an affirmative action one that we are proposing, that women, when they get in, they engender every aspect of the electoral and appointive governance, yeah? Then the presence of women. As you have said, we had 350 women in the academy who are very excited, very energetic, and well-equipped to go and battle it out with the male counterpart as we go into party primaries in April. The fifth critical point is on the point of influence. Now, we are giving them a platform where they can advocate for what we've been seeking for many years as women, that we need to be part of the governance institutions to make decisions and ensure the socio-cultural perspective of the Kenyan populace is actualized through the women that we get to elected positions and governance positions. Akisa.
Right, and just even as you outlined that, it also comes in line with challenges that women across the country face, and perhaps what really are the main hindrances behind not seeing a lot of women coming up for our political processes and especially elections. One of them being how expensive this is, and we'll be getting a first-hand I'll be speaking first-hand experience here from Cecilia Nahungu, who's an aspirant. But you, looking at some of the challenges, the finance issue is still a big challenge. How are we bridging this, even as we equip them with this?
The finance issue, which is actually aligned in the Political Parties Act, is something that has been coming up over and over again. As FIDA, we've done 2 analyses, post-election analysis since 2010. And each time, from the analysis, the issue of campaign financing is something that limits women into politics. We all know that the society is largely patriarchal, and resources are actually advantageous to the men. Now, when it comes to financing, we were hoping that the Political Parties Act and the political parties and the ORPP, by the time we are getting to the 2022 election, are accountability measures where political parties have to show us what they have been doing in terms of the financing they have been getting from political parties registrar, in terms of ensuring that women get their equalization share from the political parties fund. We know that the act has not been enacted so far, and that's part of the limitations. Now, what we are calling upon the institutions that are involved in terms of financing, we are telling them it's our constitutional mandate to ensure that women get their seats at the table. So what do we do about it? Let us push for more accountability by political parties. Let us ensure that whatever IBC has been saying that political parties have to show they have their affirmative action, actualize it through their political structures and their political mechanism, is actually something that can be enforced. It's something that is not something that we have to battle about in 2022. Now, as our party in FIDA, we continue to call upon the necessary agencies to move forward and ensure that their constitutional mandate in terms of financing women comes about. Now, in the academy, we were doing resource mobilization and campaign strategy to ensure that the women know how to go about campaign financing, political financing, over and above what the law provides. So, right. Akisa, that's still a challenge. And we hope, as we bridge the gap, the solutions can be gotten either from the state and from non-state actors.
Right.
Yes.
Let's hear from Cecilia, who's joining me. Cecilia, good morning. Thank you very much for being with us here. I understand you're an aspirant for the Westland seat, part of the Women Academy, Leadership Academy that we're talking about. Is this your first time vying? What has your experience been like at the Academy?
Thank you, Akisa. My name is Cecilia Nahungumbati. I'm an aspirant for Westlands constituency MP 2022. And yes, this is my first time vying. And I can say my experience at the Academy was enlightening. There was a lot of information that we were able to get, a lot of first-hand experience from the panelists and from the guests, who are able to talk to us and tell us their journey, how they started, how it all went. There were a lot of lessons we learned, practical lessons and practical tips in terms of resource mobilization, in terms of campaign strategy. We learned really a lot from the Academy. It was enlightening and it was very good because it showed me as a first-time aspirant, a picture of what is, for me, I can expect as I move forward into this journey.
Have you already hit the ground, perhaps started engaging those that you hope would vote for you? What is that like for you as a woman, just putting yourself out there? Are there any challenges that you've come through, you've come about? And of course, even as you talk about the lessons that you've learned there, how are they vis-a-vis the reality that you have faced on the ground?
Yes, I have hit the ground. I have started building my team, and I've started actually talking to people and teams on the ground. And the challenges that I'm facing out here is in terms of expectations, right? The expectations that the people have sometimes a bit too high, maybe, because you're a politician.
In terms of what?
In terms of finances, in terms of money, you get. So it is a reality that as we speak, you can say you can go out there and hit the ground, but the reality is, if you're going to hit the ground, you have to be prepared in terms of finances. Because when you're building your team, you have to pay your team, maybe your coordinator, you have to pay the people who work with you, especially when you're a woman. You know, we have a challenge of security, right? You have to go out there and meet these people. So, you know, for your security, you need to have a security team. You need to work with people alongside you, so that you're taken care of in terms of security. In terms of some areas, maybe you have not been able to enter some areas. In order for you to go there, you need people. And when you talk about people, it translates to finances. That is one challenge that I've seen. And then as a woman also, coming into a political space, okay, I know in Westlands we've had a lot of past women aspirants, and the people are receptive, but you still find some people who are culturally biased against women, right? So you find a lot of body shaming. For example, someone would tell you you're too small. You get you find a lot of talk about how women, when they get there, they misbehave. You understand? So it's a bit of a challenge to get into those minds of these people, for them to understand that you are a different person. You are not the women they have seen in the past, right? That you are you, and they should take you as you.
Right.
That is another challenge.
Sophie, let me bring you in right now. And even listening to what Cecilia says and the reality on the ground, when they hit there and they find a completely different reception from the people. There's one conversation on getting more women vying for seats. Then it's another conversation of getting them elected. How do we bridge this gap with all these challenges therein?
Yeah, luckily, Akisa, we have the necessary constitutional underpinnings that we have to uphold, yeah? Now, if that is in place, then it's for the institutions that are in there to ensure that this happens. This includes IBC, ORPP, the political parties themselves, and the judiciary in terms of electoral dispute resolutions. Now, if these institutions work and fulfill their mandate in terms of ensuring the two-thirds gender rule is something that's actually, then we can bridge that gap. However, as women aspirants, as women in Kenya, it's upon us, once we get to know the candidates that will be in the ballot box, it's upon us to move. We know that over 50% of the country's population is women. Now, we don't know, since the last particular voter registration exercise, how many women, young, and the ones that are willing to do the elections, have gone and taken their own votes. We need to mobilize, ensure that these women aspirants, as much as they're coming in, that we women, electors, go in and vote. Not only women, even men. Let's vote for our dada. Let's vote for our dada. That's one of the critical ways to do it, through civic engagement, through civic education, that women need to be given a place in the table. We need that, these statistics that we keep getting, that less than 33% of women are in the electoral body, in parliament, is something that we should shed from the 2022 elections. The other thing we can do is ride on the commitments that political parties will make right now. In terms of when they go around campaigning, they keep saying that they will ensure that women get their space in the management body. We know that in political parties, the decision-making mechanism in the political party is not necessarily women-friendly. It's not gendered towards the affirmative action. Let it be something that they commit to. And the women aspirants in the ground, they should hold these political parties to account after the elections and beyond, yeah? The other way we can do is ensuring, like I said, the critical masses get into elections. And once these critical masses get into elective positions, it is upon them to go in with the necessary agenda. This is something that we were emphasizing at the Women Leadership Academy. The agenda setting is important for affirmative action to get in. So that when you go in there, you ensure that whatever goals that we had for the women, we know socially, women are the ones who improve the society's socioeconomic income and all that. And it's important that this is something that is reflected through the law and policies. So that we encourage the generations that exist, and the ones that are coming, to ensure that there is a continuity in terms of ensuring the numbers continue to increase. They never, ever have to decrease. Akisa.
I wanted now to take a short break. We'll be picking it up from your point, engaging the critical masses, civic education. But is this happening? You've even talked about the laws that are in place to protect this. But look at the two-thirds gender principle, translated or interpreted at the highest court, but still, we're still here. So how do we navigate this? Let's also hear what you have to say about this conversation. FIDA really trying to get more women to vie in the 2022 polls. Are we likely to meet the two-thirds gender principle in Parliament? We'd love to hear your thoughts at Akisa Wandera at KTN News KE, the hashtag to use this morning prime. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more.
KTN News. Get the whole story. Fried ginger has ginger oil, which is good for a healthy living lifestyle. It combines wonderfully on salads, stir-fries, when basted on roasted meat or simply sprinkled on your favorite dish. Available in 250 ml, 500 ml and 1 liter. redeem 825,000 for any of our value-added plots today and get instant shopping rewards worth 25,000 during 25 days of Christmas with Optiven. For more information, call us on 0790 300 300. Ho 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 ho! A loved one is never easy. The lingering memories, the what-ifs, but in all the gloom, we find ways of celebrating them. And here at the Standard Tributes, we aim to give your loved ones that befitting send-off. Visit www.standardmedia.co.ke/tributes today and post your loved one's tribute. In addition, get access to funeral services from our trusted vendors. The Standard Tributes, keeping memories alive.
In the business of news, facts are the currency, and we make it count by setting the standard.
We leave no stone unturned in delivering the facts of the day. We set the standard and make the news count.
KTN News. Get the whole story. You are watching KTN News. KTN News. Get the whole story.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Prime. We're talking about women in leadership, specifically the space for women in the upcoming general elections in 2022. We are already seeing a lot of high gear, high octane politics as Kenyans gear for the 2022 general polls, which will be a transition election and will be very key come August 9th when Kenyans will be going to the ballot. So, of course, a lot of efforts to just ensure that more women present themselves or vie for the various seats, from president to the MCA seats, and of course various academies and trainings for women. But is this enough to bridge that gap? Sophie, I'll come to you before we come to Cecilia on just bridging that gap. You've talked about the law cushioning us from some of these things, or cushioning women from some of these things. But a perfect example is the implementation of the 2/3 gender principle, interpreted by the highest court. Parliament declared null and void, for lack of a better word, or unconstitutional by the previous or the former Chief Justice. But we're still here. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah. It is a concern. Unfortunately, this has been having a challenge. We've been seeing that over and above parliamentary non-implementation of that, and actually the advisory that was issued by the CJ being not complied with, we are seeing that the conversation has totally shifted. It's no longer an issue on the table. Now, being a concern is one thing, but what are we doing about it? So as FIDA, we are continuing with the conversation. We are pushing for it. And like I've said before, that in terms of moving the process forward, we need the critical masses in Parliament. And the only way we can do that is push for women to seek those elected positions. As in the Women Leadership Academy, all the political parties and all the politicians, that female political incumbents who are in there, they encourage the women to go and pursue those political seats. It's upon us to ensure that they listen to these voices and ensure that they have that kind of visibility. So as FIDA, what we are doing, over and above ensuring they have the necessary capacity to pursue the political positions that they are seeking in various elective positions, we are dubbing a campaign for voter data that we shall be rolling out next year to ensure that more and more women get their voice heard. Yeah? And through this campaign, we hope that more women, if I can give an example, more than the 3 female governors that were elected in 2017 come into elections, yeah? And more women get their say in the county assemblies. So that when we have those masses, then the next shift shall be on the critical actors. Then they will become the critical actors. The agenda we shall set is that in all committees, in all positions of power, in the elective and appointive positions, are influenced by the gender agenda. So that over and above the law and policies, we have the society influence through elected women. Now, this is something that has been designed even before historically at ISA. We've had the women's rights movements early in the 1990s, and it's something that FIDA has been trying to ignite as a second-pronged approach. Over and above the voter data campaign, that we should, through the women's rights movement, mobilize from the grassroots level to the national level, right, so that women get in there. Yes.
Right. Cecilia, we cannot overstate or understate the role of political parties in this. And being an aspirant, I imagine you're a member of a political party. If you intend to vie with a political party, what role or how much support are you getting from the political party? Because some people have opined that for Kenya to, and I think this is a question that Sophie will also try and respond to, for Kenya to achieve the 2/3 gender principle, the political parties will need to align with this course. Do you agree with that, Cecilia? And how much support are you getting from that end?
Thank you. I am vying with the ODM, the largest party in East and Central Africa. Mm-hmm. And what I can say about their contribution towards women is that ODM has been vibrant in pushing the women agenda. We all know that. And we see the Women League, who are holding the women aspirants very closely. They are actually training us, and they are holding our hands in terms of getting us through this process. But what I can say is that as much as I'm in a political party or someone else is in a political party, at the end of the day, the responsibility lies with the aspirants. Yes, we as women, we are not saying that we want to be given. That is what we are saying. We are putting ourselves out here to earn it, right? So that even as our political parties are supporting us, but on our own, we have to do our best, right? So in terms of let's say going out to the field, in terms of finances, we all know that before nominations, it is up to you as a candidate. Whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, it's up to you as a candidate to get your own support in that area. And that is something that I know disadvantages a lot of women, especially going into the nomination, because we know women and money, the situation of that, women and finances in our country. But in general, I can say that my political party supports women, and it puts women at the center. So it is up to us women, for us not to be flower girls in these parties, in these political parties. It is up to us to go out there and grab what we have and work for it, and at the end of the day, bring something to the table so that even the political party can know that this aspirant is a woman, but she is doing her best. Then they can also support you further.
Yes. Sophie, what role should political parties play in this in ensuring that our next parliament will achieve or will implement the 2/3 gender principle? As I mentioned earlier, some have opined that perhaps this needs to start from the political parties stage and the lists that originate from there.
Yes, definitely it has to start from their political parties. There is a proposal that has been issued out by the IEBC and the organizations championing for the women for the 2/3 agenda, that in any nomination list we have to see the 2/3 rule adhered to, that women must appear in those nomination lists. And IBC are pushing for it, as we understand, we learned from the academy. They are pushing for it, and they are telling political parties that if you bring us a nomination list that does not adhere to the 2/3 rule, we are going to give it back to you. So this pressure is coming from everywhere, and the parties need to adhere to that.
Sophie, as you speak about this is the same IBC that has consistently admitted to being powerless, especially in ensuring that some of these things that they demand, especially from political parties, are observed.
Yeah, unfortunately, these are some of the opinions. However, personally, as a lawyer, I am of the opinion that power is there to the IBC. It's upon the enforcement of that power that is lacking. Now, as the aspirant speaks about political parties and how they're encouraging women through women caucuses, this is indeed true. Granted, there are mechanisms within the parties to ensure that women participate in elections. However, there is one critical issue that has been documented, and it's something that FIDA has highlighted in the recent report we had on policy gap analysis, that as far as the political parties come in, when they are required by IBC to submit the party list, we need to critically examine this list. Is it something that, are these names being segregated proportionately? Is it something that has been, is calculated to fail the women? Are these winnable seats? Those are three questions that is something that has been of a question in terms of party lists. Those party lists, it's upon those caucuses to ensure that whatever seats women get as women caucuses, that those names that are forwarded, a majority of them get elected. It's not something like the aspirant for Westland is positions for flower girls. We do not want flower girls. We want people going in there and getting elected, actually getting elected. And it's something we are calling upon all political parties as FIDA to ensure that whatever list that they give IBC, and IBC should be more vigilant in terms of ensuring that those lists are not just for procedural purposes. It's something that is truly affirmative. Yeah.
But some would argue that you cannot force a political party to put women or elect to have these women in the winnable seats that you talk about. That is a gray area in itself.
It is a gray area for sure. However, that's what I'm saying. The women caucuses in those political formations, they should be vigilant. They should hold their sisters' hands. At whatever seats they are getting nominated for, it's not something that for procedure. It's something that can be winnable. We should put it out there, and those aspirants aspiring for various political positions, they should be aware that those are some of the mechanisms that are being utilized by the negative energies against affirmative action. Yeah, and the media comes in here, Akisa, to ensure that we put openly out there that gender is something that should be ensured in all political aspects of the campaign process. Visibility, it's something that has been lacking for these women. They need to be more visible in the campaign period. Yes.
Visibility, you bring in a very interesting point there. Cecilia, as an aspirant, how does this work for you? You've mentioned a challenge of finance, but then there's the question of being visible enough to be considered. And then there's a question of the murky nomination waters that will have to wade to be a candidate for your party.
In terms of visibility, as she has said, on my side as an aspirant, I understand, and every other aspirant out there, you have to be visible. You have to be heard, and not just visibility for the sake of visibility, right? You have to put out your agenda clearly that the people can understand and they can resonate with. Being a woman is not, we say being a woman is not a disability, but we are somehow not in a good place, but it's not our disability. So women, we are not supposed to use that in order to force people's hand, but we are supposed to use that to show that yes, you can do it. So visibility is very important as an aspirant. You have to be visible, not only in the mainstream media, but even to your constituents. You have to be there. You have to go there. They have to know you, you know, so that when we move towards, let's say, what now we are talking about nominations. Yeah. You know, nominations, they're gonna vote for someone they know. they're gonna vote, even if it's delegates, right? They're gonna vote for someone they know, that this person has been there. This person has been doing A, B, C, D. That is how you're going to get ahead into the nomination.
But you cannot understate the role of these political parties in this nomination processes and the kind of influence that they have on these processes. So how do you wade through that?
In terms of the political parties, you have to be active in your political party. You have to push the political party agenda as an individual and as an aspirant. For example, you're out there, you are campaigning for yourself. You know the nominations are going to be conducted by party members. What are you doing about the registration of people into the party, right? You must be able to go out there and mobilize people into the party, to get into the party, so that on your part, the party can see that you're doing something for the party and also for the people.
Sophie, so that this is not just a conversation we have when we are heading into elections, even in participating in political processes, are women organizing enough?
Like I said, historically, women, they have seen the need for organization of themselves in terms of positioning themselves. In terms of balancing how enough, that is enough. When you go to the grassroots levels, when politicians go to the grassroots, when they want to mobilize for participation, there are those groupings that we all know as largely women-centric. Yeah, those are the avenues that women should use to push for the agenda. Are they organized enough? I've seen from the FIDA perspective, women are actually organized. In this academy, we had over 350 aspirants coming in for various positions. Yeah, that is a good show of interest and organization, in my perspective. That we as citizenry, we should push forward to ensure that those organized enough come in and get elected. Now, as much as women organize themselves, they need to be fashioned in a political party, or when they want in an independent best angle.
We seem to have a problem with that, so I'll give once that signal stabilizes, we'll be able to go to Sophie to just make that remark even as we get the closing remarks. We're about to get to the tail end of the show, Cecilia, and being an aspirant, perhaps just speak to any other woman out there who is contemplating whether to toss themselves into this political field or not. What would you tell them?
To a woman out there, you're thinking about going into the political arena. What I can say is that take the leap, take the first step. But as you take the first step, kindly do your homework. Kindly get to know about, have a lot of information about politics in Kenya, about political parties. Have an idea of what you want to go and do. What seat you want to go for? What party would you like, or would you like to go as an independent? Have all those things organized in your mind and think about them thoroughly before coming out here. What is pushing you to go out here and offer yourself? Are you just going to chase for clout? Are you just going to be seen? Or do you have a real agenda? Do you have something that is pushing you towards politics? Because it is not easy. Even as you get in, you realize that the dynamics are different. So you have to be committed fully, 100% into this cause. But what I would say is that don't be discouraged. We were in a forum with one of our seniors, Honorable Millie Odhiambo, and she kept on telling us that it is difficult, but it is doable. So you know that it is possible. So take the first leap and offer yourself.
Sophie, how do we, as we wind up, how do we, and I know you had a point you were finishing up before our network destabilized a bit, but even as you finish that, even in your closing remarks, how do we involve men? Because this is not just a women conversation. You will need men to elect you. You will need men to support you. How do you involve them in this conversation?
Yeah, I was talking about whether women are organized. Women, I believe, are organized. How pushing forward, as you have heard, resources are something that is limiting them. It's a matter of pushing them forward through the various mechanisms that include media, policy, and of course the civic education and mobilization. How do we mobilize women to push? We have the opinion. There are two ways. Yeah, the access point. Yeah, women need to access the political decision-making mechanisms. Yeah, not as much as possible. Women are in political parties. Yes, most of them are in political, as we have evidence in the Women Leadership Academy. Now, it's how to push them to the decision-making process, which is more critical as we move to elections. It's a matter of having that voice, yeah? The voice to push themselves up there in the top decision-making process is what will get them elected. And it's something that as FIDA, we are working on processes, yeah? And when that voice is heard, yeah? Even the agenda that Cecilia is talking about, the agenda setting that they have had before the campaign period, during the campaign period, and after the campaign period is actually going to be actualized. And the most critical of that agenda is ensuring that the affirmative action, the truth agenda rule, something is actualized in the country. Akisa.
All right, what a way to end it. We'll keep having this conversation. 8 months to the general elections is a long time. And of course, Cecilia, wish you and the other aspirants all the best, even as you toss yourself into this quite a difficult world. Wishing you all the best. Sophie, thank you very much for joining us. As well, Sophie Kabiria is the Senior Programs Officer at FIDA Kenya, joining us virtually. Cecilia Nahungumbati is an aspirant for Westlands, as we talk about women and why there's a lot of push right now to get a lot of women to vie in the 2022 general elections. Are we likely to see two-thirds gender principle achieved in the next parliament? It remains a matter of wait and see. Thank you for engaging with us. I want us to take a quick break. When we get back, we take a look at the news diary. What are reporters working on across the country? What is expected to make big news today? And what matters to you? We are reporting all that and more. Let's take a quick break. You're watching Morning Prime. Good morning.